Oh, I didn't turn my light on here. Hello, Karen Maxwell here with Real Impact Plano. And right now we have Gabi Lockhart. She's with Real Impact Denton and Real Impact Wichita Falls. So thank you very much for joining me today, Gabi.
You're
I should
welcome.
have worn my red dress, but instead I'm wearing my army green. Oh, he knows I have a call every day at noon. Let me turn my ringer off. So, Gabi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Doing good. I mean, just pricing out some loans and stuff like that and
Getting some people some money.
working on it, yeah.
Good deal. So let's talk a little bit about what all's been going on this week. Boy, have we learned a lot. So I learned yesterday a very valuable lesson that when you put a property under contract and then you change, for example, if you're assigning the contract, if you assign the contract, you have a contract assigning it to the new buyer. That changes the vesting deed. But if you put a property under contract in this name and then you change the way you're going to be closing it, you need to have that paper trail showing what the new one's going to be. So yeah, that's pretty important, especially if you're taking a lender on that's going to be part of the deal.
They should have seen that.
Yeah, somebody should have caught that. And it's like with I need to go get my printer out. Evidently, I need to print that document that they sent the wrong document. Was it the notary's fault? Was it the title company's fault? I don't know, but I'm left to fix it, and nobody seems to want to send it over to me electronically. So I don't know. Whatever, I'll fix it. I have to go. My printer's still in my car. It's been in my car since the expo.
Oh my gosh, poor thing.
That's been like a month, so I haven't had to print anything in like a month. But I mean, my God, we paid $150 for the notary, and I called her 15 minutes later and said, hey, this document was wrong. Can you please bring me back another one? She said, oh, they can just electronically sign it. And I was like, okay, yeah, no problem. And then I was there for another 4 hours. And then, so yeah, it was just a big mess. And I'm frustrated.
The document actually comes directly from the lender. It's not coming from the title company. They have to make an adjustment from the lender side.
No, it wasn't the lender. It wasn't the lender. It was the closing statement from the title company.
Yeah, but this is produced by the lender.
I don't know. I thought the title company prepared that.
No, they have to balance out the lender cost, the loan cost.
There wasn't any of that. This was on our sell side. We didn't have the buyer stuff. We just had the seller stuff because we were the seller.
Yeah.
So our closing statement only had our stuff on it, and mine was wrong. Everybody else's was right. Mine was wrong, and somehow the packet didn't get updated, so I didn't have the most current closing statement in my packet, and I caught it immediately. That was the first page, and I caught it immediately. But whatevs. So I guess I could probably
business partners wisely.
Say again.
Pick your business partner wisely.
Yes. Always, 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 always. That's one good thing. Well, I'm glad we had everything. We have everything in writing. Anytime you do any kind of a partnership or a JV agreement, anything like that, just get it in writing. Even if it's, send over an email to where you have an email chain that shows this is what we've decided, this is what we're doing. And that's what we've done for them with these partners from the beginning is we've always had an email chain. And it's important to be transparent and not try to hide or mislead anybody. And don't think for 1 minute, if you're working with a private lender or a business partner, don't think, oh my gosh, I don't want them to find this out. Because number one, they are going to find out. Number two, when the crap hits the fan, guess who's stuck holding the bag? You're the one looking like the idiot. You're the one looking like the shady person. That's why I'm always I like for everybody to be on the same page. I don't like to hide things from this person and hide things. I'm like, this is what's going on. We're over budget. We need more money. Let's find the money. Let's get it done. Or, hey, we're under budget. We've talked about doing this. Let's get some firm bids and see if that's going to be cost effective. If it's not going to bring value to the property, then don't do it. But there's a lot of moving parts that go into rehabbing a deal, closing the deal. We were trying to get final utilities yesterday from the electric company, the water company. You might have security cameras that you need to get removed. Or if I know we bought a property before that had security cameras in the house. And it was actually under a contract. And so we bought the property sub 2, and we were supposed to transfer the contract into our name. And we did, but then the tenant didn't know and was not informed. And that was our fault. The tenant wasn't informed, like, hey, we pay for this. This is your security system, but we're taking it off of ours. We weren't monitoring it anyway. We just were notified if somebody opened the door. But the tenant went in and had another security system installed without our knowledge and removed the old one. And so we were stuck paying for it. And then, of course, we don't know what they did with it. And I'm like, number one, like when I'm a tenant, I can't even install cable or a satellite without getting the owner's permission. But these guys came in and installed a security system, removed ours that we were paying for. It was the biggest it was a big problem. But that should have been removed when we took the property over. And it wasn't. It was just an oversight. So watch those. That's why you have to have a checklist.
Yeah, you do.
And that's why things like things that you think are stupid, like security system. I know the house I lived in Longview had a security system. It was Brinks. But I asked him, I said, is this active? And she said, no, but if you set it, if anybody opens the door, like it had those things that, like, if someone opened the window, the alarm would go off, I don't know what they're called, sensors. And then, so I could set it, and I set it one day, and somebody came over, and we opened the door, and the alarm went off, and the alarm system was in the back of the house. I had to run back to the back of the house and turn it off, and it was really loud. So I didn't use it because we were always in and out of the house. But like this house I'm in now, there's a motion detector, and I didn't know what it did. So I turned it on one day, and I was in the living room and forgot about it because I was sitting there for about 10 minutes, and yes, I wasn't moving. And then I moved to get up off the couch, and the alarm went off in the whole entire house. It was really, really loud. And then, like I said, I didn't know how to use it. So I was like playing with it, trying to get it to turn off. And so we only use that when we're going to be gone, because my kids are always home. I may be in and out, or my daughter may go to her grandma's, but my son's here. And so we're very rarely ever all of us gone at the same time. But if we are, we can use that. So,
yeah.
All those tips and tricks. And it's a pretty cool system, though. I can unlock the front door. I would love for more landlords to use those, because you can give someone a code to get in. So like if I'm gone and the maintenance guy needs to get in, I can give him the code to the front door. And then I can set it for a certain time or make it just once. My son has a code. My daughter has a code. I have a code. So I know who comes in and out. Well, it doesn't tell me who goes out, but it tells me who uses the code to get in.
I think we have that with our Airbnb here.
Yeah. And you can do all that with your phone?
I don't, but
somebody does.
Yes, somebody does. Yeah. I think Tim can. I don't know.
Yeah. And I can operate like the air conditioner with it.
That's cool. I can
cut my air. Like if I forget to turn the air, like I know several times I've gotten up at my other houses that didn't have this option. And I would get up and have to turn the air up. And then when I'd go to bed, I'd turn the air down. And then if I got up and left the house and forgot, or like, let's say I left at 4:00 in the morning to go catch a flight, and the kids were still at home, and the air conditioning was still on 68, and then they left. Then the air conditioning would stay on 68 the entire time that we were gone. So I was able to go in at this house. I'm able to go in and adjust my air conditioning. So it's pretty cool.
It is cool. That is true.
I mean, I pay $17 a month for it, but it's proven valuable to me. Yeah. I mean, shoot, go out of town one weekend when it's 100 degrees and your air conditioning's on 66 and forget, that would pay for itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so what's new in the lending world?
A few things that I'm trying to learn myself, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There's new guidelines coming up. They're affecting people if they have a debt to income ratio above 40%.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I have to learn it. There's something, I mean, I have to read more into it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like another fee and stuff, and more hits on the account, on the interest rates and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So, I have got so many luncheons and coffees set up. I'm gonna be a networking fiend by the end of this next 2 weeks. Like this week is books. I'm beginning to next week now, and I can't believe that I scheduled someone. I'm scheduled to meet with someone on Friday because I checked my schedule and my schedule was open on Friday, but then I realized today that my kids are out of school Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I thought about leaving this tomorrow evening, but to go on to East Texas and get a few more days with my family, but the kids will want to wait and leave on Friday, so we'll just do that. Oh, so do y'all have any Easter plans?
I don't know. Timmy has not gotten back with me yet to see if he wants to come over for dinner, for lunch or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still waiting to hear back.
Gotcha. Well,
yeah.
We are doing Easter egg hunt on Saturday, and then we'll do another one on Sunday. We're having family pictures on Sunday evening, so we'll do one on Sunday afternoon for Bentley, the 3-year-old, because he may not be with us on Saturday. We may not get him till Sunday, so that'd be cool. So I had something interesting happen yesterday, and I was pretty upset about it. I was irritated. I was driving yesterday, and somebody messaged me and said, "Hey, Karen, is there anything that I can do for you today? You always do so much for us. What can we do for you today?" And I was like, "Oh, thank you so much. I'm driving right now. I couldn't think of anything that I needed. Go find me some deals." And then I was around some people, and it got brought up that I do so much for everybody else, and that they were tired of seeing me being taken advantage of. And I'm like, I really don't look at it as being taken advantage of. If I give someone some insight or some instruction or some advice and they go act on it, I feel 100% redeemed. Like I feel paid back because I helped that person and they took action.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a call. Somebody was pitching me a deal on Saturday, and I said, "Oh, I've got someone that buys in that area. Why don't you send me the details?" So he's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll send you a confident." And I hope you're watching because you're fixing to learn a valuable lesson. I said, send me the deal and I'll look over it. And if it's something that I feel she may be interested in, I'll send it over to her. And so he sent me a confidentiality agreement, and I read through it. I signed it, sent it back. Well, I told him I was driving, so I couldn't sign it, but I signed it and sent it back first thing Monday morning. And then he called and he's like, "Well, hey, we don't like to send out all the details on the deals if you're not the end buyer, blah, 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 blah." I said, "Look, I'm going to look over the deal because I might be interested. Who knows? I mean, if it's a smoking hot deal, I might very well be interested in it. But if I'm not, I will ask the person that I'm thinking that might be interested in it." And so he was like, got a little wishy-washy. And I said, "Look, forget it. You don't have to send me all the details, all the financials, all that. All I want is the numbers. What's the ARV? What are you asking? What's the cap rate?" Because it was, more than one unit. I'll just put it that way. It was not a multi-family deal, but anyway, it was more than one unit. It was a small portfolio. And I said, then I'll look at it based on that, and then I may have some more questions. But upon looking at it, I knew automatically I wasn't interested in it. And so I asked a few more questions. I did some research, and then I asked the person that I thought might be interested in it. I said, hey, would you be interested in this? And she asked me a few questions. Number one, what company is it? I don't want to work with this one. I said, no, it's not that company. Okay, are they on this street? I said, no. And she said, okay, send me some more information. So I sent her the gist of what I had. And then she started asking some more questions. And she said, what's the rents? What are the rents? And I said, she said, are they like $750 to $850? And I said, no, they're $1,000 to $1,200. And she said, okay, I may be interested. So then at that point, I introduced them, gave them their information, and, said, she wants more information. And so then he called me yesterday, and he was asking some questions. Was she interested? I didn't hear back. Should I follow up? I said, yeah, just give her a call and ask her, follow up. And I said, did you get the information that I sent over that I found on Rentometer? And it may be under rented, but I don't know the area well enough. But I wanted to give you my research. Since I paid for it, I wanted to give him what I found. And he proceeded to hang up, but he didn't hang up. And there was somebody else on the line listening to our conversation, and they proceeded to talk about me. So, watch what you say about people. So he burned a bridge with me. I didn't appreciate it. And I don't connect people that freely. Like I'm not going to send every deal that I find in Wichita Falls to you guys, to you and Tim. But if I see a deal and it says Wichita Falls and I open it and I look at it and it looks like it might be a viable lead that y'all might be interested in, I will send that over. But I'm not taking I get a ton of deals sent to me daily. And I'm not going to sit here and send everything that I get out to my buyers list. I'm looking at it. I'm not that kind of a wholesaler. I don't do that. I do take into consideration. I'm not going to send somebody junk. If you send me junk, I'm probably not going to open your stuff anymore. So anyway, I was pretty irritated about that. So, and then I've got a lot of these, coffee, dinner, drinks, whatever set up. And I've got to be very selective because it's got to make sense for me to take that time away from what I could be doing to do that extra networking. And
Well, you can over network with a lot of things. You can get over involved with things, and it really doesn't pay out.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really involved with an organization. I loved it. It was really, I felt like it was a good cause, but I took too much time away from my business and for my family. And I justified for that part because it's something good. And it cost me after a while so much stress because I was disrespected on top of it. And so I had to come to the conclusion. I had to say, no, actually it got to the point that I had a doctor appointment. They said to me, well, I think you need to see a cardiologist.
Oh, it was starting to affect your heart, huh? Your health.
It started affecting my health, and I didn't even know how much it affected me. And I saw the cardiologist in the morning, and he said, I need a stress test on this afternoon. I said, I'll be there Monday. That's basically it. And this afternoon, I got a call. They told me what happened in the board meeting. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I can live without it. And I sent an email and I hit send that I'm going to resign from everything. And I felt like
a weight was lifted, huh?
A weight was lifted. And I went back on Monday to the cardiologist. And They had me run through the test twice,
Yeah.
at least. And then they looked at me and they said, "Are you the same person that came on Wednesday morning?
Yeah.
What changed? What changed?" And I said, "Oh, I resigned from certain organizations.
Yeah. You cut the stress.
I cut my stress away."
Yeah.
And you know
Whenever I
what?
go to my chiropractor, they say, "What are
I
you
have
doing?
not
What are you
had
doing to manage your stress?" Like
that.
deep breathing, meditation, prayer. But
Yes.
I really let it get to me last, probably ever since December, ever since the Subject to event. And then we went straight into the expo, and now we're going straight into Randy Hughes. There's quite a bit coming up, and thank goodness I have people to help more with the
Mhm.
next one. But it was a lot of work that you and I put into the expo, and I'm just so happy that it was so successful. That everybody had such a wonderful time, and we had such
Yeah.
great feedback from it. I really appreciated that.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to our workshop.
Yeah. So April
Yeah.
22nd, Gabi and Tim are going to come down from Wichita Falls. They're going to come to the Real Impact
Yes.
Plano location, and we're going to do a full day. Well, not really a full day. It's like what, 9 to 2, somewhere around there, 8 to 2, 9 to 2 workshop, and we're going to show you step by step. This is not a free meeting. It's $49 to attend, and you're going to analyze. You're going to look at the deals that we've been pitched and learn how, number one, what makes me open an email and what catches my attention, what gets me to start looking at it. And then you'll see me trash, not trash, but no, yes, let's look into this a little further. Let's read a little more about it. Okay, at what point do I decide, yes, this is something I want to know more about? Let's analyze it. I like to look at the pictures. I like to look at the suggested ARV, but I'm always going to rerun my numbers and verify. But that's what I want to know. How much are you asking, and what's the ARV?
Right.
And then my next question is going to be repairs, and then rents, and then it just funnels in from that. But if you don't give me certain details, unless it's just an area that I'm really, really interested in, then I've got to ask for more information. And I'm kind of like torn, I guess you would say, because I do remember in a marketing class we took, they said, don't give away all the information. Give that person a reason to come.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm all for that. But for God's sake, if I ask you a question, you better freaking answer. Give me the answer. Like, because when I'm sitting down and I have my 1 hour to look for a deal in email, and I see your deal and I want to know some more information about it, and I email you and you don't email me back till tomorrow or 4 hours from now, chances are by then I'm on to something else. And then I'll try to remember to get back to it. But the best deals I've done are ones that I can pick up the phone and call Decorian and say, hey, Decorian, what's the deal with this one? Or hey, Tony, or hey, Vince, what's the deal with this property? And they'll send it over to me immediately. So we're going to do that. So we're going to look at deals that are deals that we pitched to us. Then we're going to analyze them, and we're going to use Backflip to analyze the deals, and then maybe some on PropStream and PropWire I've heard about. I haven't used it yet, and then Propelio, and we're just going to compare data. So if anybody comes that's already very familiar with Propelio or very familiar and comfortable with PropStream, they can use that. You're not stuck with using Backflip, but Backflip is free, and it gives you that kind of initial.
It gives you an idea.
Yeah, it gives you an idea. Starting your due diligence. Is this something I want to devote more time to? And then Gabi, hopefully, if we get some deals that we know that we're going to be analyzing while they're there, Gabi is going to have them sent over to her lenders to see what kind of response she gets, which ones are interested, what's their term, what are their terms going to be, what are the requirements for the borrower. And then we'll be able to say, okay, if you have a 680 or higher credit score, this lender will lend on this deal. And then we're going to go see the property, and we're going to see the property because we need to verify the condition. Make sure there wasn't anything big that we missed in our rough estimate of repairs. that needs to be considered. And
And I will have a scoop of worksheet, an Excel sheet that we
uh-huh,
can hand out, that you can fill out, because that's something that we're definitely gonna need.
yep.
And we're also gonna have to, we're gonna analyze how many deals you have done, and I'm gonna
Let's
show
make
you.
sure we send that Excel spreadsheet out to them in email or
Okay.
on Google Drive or something before the meeting. That way, because they need to bring their laptop, they'll have internet access, and they'll need to bring their phone. And we're just going to show them the tools. How do we analyze a deal? What goes into it? What
Yeah,
questions?
I
Because when you go to pitch it to your lender and you don't know what the average rents are, and you're looking at rent, keeping this property to rent it as a rental, and you don't know what the rents are, you're going to not look so prepared. But if
well,
you're able to answer
I'm
all the
gonna,
questions, go ahead.
yeah, I will email those to you. Then we can send that out to
Okay.
everybody,
Okay.
because this is something that every lender wants back.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important that you know really what a scope of work is, so it's for them easier just to look through,
Yep.
and you don't have a scope of worksheet anyway.
Right.
And so you have one that works, and then you can get also, we're going to find out how many properties you have done, and you can send that in already if you want to. Basically, you have to, if somebody said, well, I did 5 properties, well, it depends how you did those 5 properties. I mean, I'm just going back with what Tim and I have been doing in the last, how many years now. And that's like, what about that house? He said, no, that was 2019. What about that one? No, that was in 15. I'm going like, that many years ago,
Right.
So you really have to go and keep a spreadsheet on your desk, in an Excel sheet, and really keep track. When did you buy the house? When did you refinance the house? And put the loan numbers on it, put the amount on it, and when did you sell the house? Keep those things, keep a track on it. First of all, you're gonna need it for your taxes. I'm not a CPA, by the way. Not a I'm
Neither am
not a
I.
lawyer. I'm not a real estate. To clarify that.
Just
But
speaking
if
by
you do
from
that
experience, from real estate investor to real estate investor.
right, you need to have that, because that makes it easier for us to look. So you can just email that thing over, that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And then you can dig out your HUD statements. Make sure you have them all in a folder scanned.
Yes.
It's really important. I mean, you can ask the title company to email it to you by electronic, and then you
I
can
always
just,
ask them, can you email me the final documents for my files? And then I have them
yes.
in a folder, closings or acquisitions, and then I have one
Hmm.
for dispositions. So the one in
It's important.
acquisitions is where I bought the property, and then when I sell it, it goes into dispositions. But I have them. But I like the way what you're saying is have a spreadsheet ready to go all the time,
Hmm.
ongoing. So you're just adding to it, adding to it. I
Right,
mean, my
right.
CRM creates those, so I don't really have to do that, but I keep up with that in my CRM. So
Right.
whether you are writing it on a piece of paper, we did we created a credibility package one time, and we had the first year we had them all listed. Every
Mhm.
wholesale deal we did, we had the address and how much we made for that year. Address, how much we made. Address, how much we made. And we made it into a picture, and I printed it out on an 8x10 and put it in a binder, like with those little sheets. It was really
Yes.
pretty. And then 2015 came along, and we had a full sheet. The
Hmm.
first one I had to do like center it in the middle of this little sheet. And the second one was like it filled the sheet. Then the third year we were on 2 sheets.
Right.
And then the fourth year we had to start combining. Like this is how much we made wholesaling. Like we didn't have to list every single property. Like this is how much we did wholesaling. This is how much we did fix and flip. This is how much rental income we had. And we got all that by looking back at our QuickBooks account.
Right.
So you've got data. You need to have data, but then you need to know how to not manipulate the data, how to use the data.
Right. Right.
If you hand me a scientific calculator and a regular calculator and ask me what 2 + 2 is, I've got it all day. But when you start asking me for the sine and cosine and I'm going to have to go back and look at my directions to use my scientific calculator to find the cosine of whatever it is, whatever kind of math. I'm pretty smart at math, and I did excel at all those classes, trig, geometry,
Mhm.
algebra 1 and 2, all that. But I haven't used that in a while.
Right.
So I might have to go back and look at the directions. But if you don't know, like on your, I make, I have a rental property and I make, it's rented for $1,200 a month. That's great. But what's your cash flow? Well, I make $1,200 a month. But what's your cash flow? Well, what does that mean? Well, how much is your payment? $1,000. So you're making $200 a month. Are there any other expenses that you didn't account for?
Yes.
What are you going to do if you have 5 properties that are, all fully occupied and 1 air conditioner unit goes out? I mean, what are you going to do? So these are all things that you can find out if you're keeping up with the data individually, and then you can step back and look at it as a whole. This is how my rental portfolio is performing. This property we're only making $15 a month on, but we're killing it over here on this one that's making us $1,000 a month because maybe it's owned free and clear. But this one's only $15 a month. But guess what? That one is on target that says, look, this is one we need to look at and say, hey, Mr. Tenant, I just had another property come available. Is there any chance you would like to move? Because in September, when your lease expires, I'm going to be raising your rents. And it's not going to be just a little bit. Because of the taxes have risen, I'm now paying more in taxes. So I'm going to have to go up $300 a month. So that rent on the property is going to have to be $1,500 a month. And I know you're at 11, 12, whatever. So maybe they do want to move over to one of your other properties. That fills that vacancy and gets you ready to raise the rents on this one. Instead of continuing to lose that $300 or $400 a month on this one for the next 6 months, let's solve 2 problems.
But please document it. Please document it that you're gonna move and that
absolutely. Yes, document
it. Make a new lease, do all that stuff.
Yeah, always make a new lease.
You would be surprised how many people don't do it.
Yes. So we even did that if we had, especially when we had a couple, like a boyfriend and girlfriend, or even a husband and wife that rented a property and then something happened and one of them moved out. They would say, I want her off the lease. And I would say, well, we can't exactly do that. Can't just remove someone from the lease. And so what we ended up doing was starting a new lease. So we would let them out of that lease, both of them. I would always make sure I talked to both of them to make sure we were on a clear understanding of what was going on.
Right.
We broke up. He gave me half the deposit. I've moved out. He can keep my half with y'all and get it back from y'all. Okay. Well, I need to get that in writing. And then we're going to, hang on, that's charity.
Yeah, it's really important that you have paper trail for everything that happens in your property. And even if you don't think it's important, it may come up and bite you in the back.
Yeah.
And you have to have documentation, because if you have to go to court and you cannot prove anything, you're guilty.
Yeah. We had, what didn't happen to us, but I went to court one day for eviction court, and there was a woman that was being sued for eviction by her landlord, but the landlord did not lease the property to her. He had leased it to her mother. Well, she was living with her mother, and then her boyfriend moved in. The mother moved out. They didn't pay the rent. They thought mom was still going to pay the rent. Yeah, like, why wouldn't you? Anyway, so they were being evicted, and she didn't want to move. And so we got to court, and the judge said, like, you're not even on the lease. Like, you're not legally supposed to be there. So I'm going to have to,
Yeah.
Judgment in the order of the plaintiff. Okay. So the plaintiff was going to win. But then she told him, I want to stay. And he said, and I've offered for you to stay. I told you that you needed to fill out an application and pay the application fee. And that if, that I could let your mom out of her lease, but you needed to sign a 1-year lease. But then you brought the boyfriend in, and the boyfriend, you don't want him to be on the lease because he's a felon. And I can't allow that.
Yeah.
And we saw that a lot, especially with a lot of our single mothers that we had living in our properties. Their mother, their father, their boyfriend would get out of jail and move in with them to stay for a couple of days. And that was our biggest headache, especially from the neighbors, because there was often domestic violence. And we told the neighbors, hey, if this ever happens in the future, please give us a call. We'll take care of that, because they're not supposed to be there. They're not on the lease. And those, especially when they have Section 8, they're not supposed to have felons living in the property. They can lose their housing.
Right.
And that's usually all you have to say is like, look, he needs to go. And by the way, I am going to have to report that, because you need to have your paper trail. And you need to show, like, hey, she broke the lease. She was warned. He moved out. But this is the official warning. Because then they can come back later and say, she evicted me for whatever else. And then you have no, I didn't. Here's my documentation. She broke the rules. I informed her. She conformed. Everything was fine. So that she has something she can complain about. So.
But I think also, if you don't report it and if you don't have the paper trail that you do that, you can lose your right to rent to Section 8. Isn't that true?
Yeah, there are certain ways that you can lose. You can get in trouble. Like if you say the rent's $1,000 and housing's paying $1,000, but then on the side you rent it to them for $1,200, so they're paying more. That's illegal. You have to report to Section 8 what the actual amount is. So then if you get caught with that, then they can say that they can remove your ability to rent to Section 8 tenants, because you're taking advantage. And sometimes they really want that. The tenants will even ask, I'll pay the extra. No, you can't. That's against what we've agreed to. And I can get in trouble, you can get in trouble, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So we had a good meeting with Tristan Pham came and talked to us on Saturday about what it takes to be a landlord. And he was great. It was interesting seeing somebody else's perspective on landlording. And but the one thing that he did say is, when he's looking at a deal, he's looking at the cash flow. Even if it's a subject to deal, he's looking at the cash flow. I think people people try to make it overcomplicated. Like, try to overcomplicate things, try to overthink things. And I kept trying to get him to say something else. And he was like, nope, just cash flow. And then the entry fee. So the cash flow, then how much is it going to cost me out of my pocket to get your deal?
Right.
So it was interesting.
What do you want to do with it? I mean, that's the one thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be working on our workshop this week.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's coming up very quickly.
It's what, 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
It's in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yes, it is. So we're gonna have those scoop of worksheets ready, and and it's just to explain why we need it.
Yep.
And why we need your experience, because if you have good experience and good credit, guess what? Your interest rate is a lot lower.
Yeah. So I was thinking, wholesalers do a really good job if they're a legitimate wholesaler. Some people, to me, are not legitimate in the fact that they're just looking for deals for their buyers. So they're shopping other wholesalers' deals. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. Then it gets marked up. But for a legitimate wholesale company, they have expenses. They are pulling lists. They are mailing to that list. They're calling those people on the list. They're texting them. They're emailing them. They're looking for deals for people like us. Now, I can go do that on my own if I have time. And I think you absolutely should. If you want to get the best deal out there, yes, you need to be direct to seller. But if you are new, or that's not your thing. You don't have time to talk to sellers. It takes a lot of time. And believe me, when that seller calls, you need to be available to talk to them immediately. This isn't something you can call them back tomorrow at lunch. Like you need to answer that phone as often as you can, which is a pain because often the telemarketers get through to me, and that's why I don't like people have a 682 phone number, area code 682, because most of those are uh, telemarketers, robo dialers, whatever. And but I see that that's a new some of the people that I'm working with have a 682 area code. And we laughed about it at my meeting a couple of months ago because I said, I'm glad you told me that you have a 682 number because I don't answer them anymore. And now I'm having to go back and answer those because more and more people that I need to be talking with. The first one ever was Wade Cricken's secretary. She called me one day from a 682 number and I didn't answer it, but I got her voicemail later when I got around to listen to my voicemails. I'm getting better at it.
Good.
Last week, my phone calls were all going straight to voicemail for some reason, and my phone wouldn't even ring. So I had to go in and listen to all my voicemails to make sure I didn't miss anything important. So, but
Well, all my voicemails are being transcribed and sent to me by text message. So it's kind of cool too, but sometimes it's kind of, if somebody
it's kind of
needs
funny,
to
some of the transcriptions.
long voicemail, then
Yeah.
it's a long text message, and then I get really annoyed because my message says, leave me a short message.
Yes, yes.
Because
So I like to
voicemails.
I like to leave a voicemail telling what I'm calling for. I don't ever just say, this is Karen Maxwell. Give me a call back at blah, blah, blah. I tell the person why I'm calling. Because number one, when they call me back in 2 days or 2 hours or 2 minutes, I might not remember why I called them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So then, but I usually, if it's important, I'll follow it up with a text. Hey, I just left you a voicemail. Give me a call when you have a minute to discuss this. Because for me, some conversations require my complete attention, concentration. It's going to be deep. And I want to be able to give them the amount of time that they need. But like my girlfriend that texted me last night and she said, how much can I rent my house for? And I'm like, need more information. So, what's the address? Is it a 322? And then I'm like, what's the situation? Where are you going? And then we got into a whole conversation that ended up, she said, can you call me? It'd be easier than texting. But it was 11 o'clock at night. But she just asked me if I could talk. And I'm on the phone with, so yeah, of course I'm going to call her. But if I was asleep, then I wouldn't have called her. I mean, obviously I would have because that was an emergency. But if somebody else texted me and said, what are you doing? I'm not answering. If you said,
my phone turns off at 10 o'clock from 10 till 6.
Mine is 10 to 7, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Yeah. Because it's too annoying. And, I just talked yesterday to somebody, a realtor. She said, some clients, they just text me Saturday night at 11 o'clock. And we're like, yeah, I know I have that happen too. But, my voicemail also says, I will return my business call the next business day.
Yeah.
It's not the next day. It's the next business day. So if you call me, and that's one thing also, I'm getting like a message on Saturday because, I need funding today. No, you don't need funding on a Saturday.
On a Saturday, right.
And then, I said, okay, I can send it off. Well, do you have an answer back 2 hours later? No, because not everybody works on Saturday. And no, it's going to get back on Monday. And just respect other people's time.
Yes. Yes.
Only because you work maybe from 8, you work in the middle of the night and that's your timeline, that is okay. But, usually people work from 8 to 5.
Yeah.
And some of us, we work till 8, 9 o'clock at night. But you have to respect our time. And on weekends, if I don't have to work, I don't want to work.
I try not to work if I don't have to, but I bet if you had a big deal going on and that your lender, not lender, your investor called you on a Saturday afternoon and you knew it was something that was going on, you would take that call if you could. You wouldn't necessarily make them wait till Monday. But if you're someone that I've never dealt with before, or if I'm someone you've never dealt with before, a Saturday afternoon call, if you're busy, is not going to get the same attention, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if
You'll get handled on Monday, but
yeah, if I have a realtor calling me and saying, "Hey, I need a pre-approval," and I have been doing business with them for quite some time, I don't mind doing it. They may get a text message back, "Please have client fill out the application." When I see it come through, I will entertain it.
yeah,
But I will not, I'm not going to go way and above anymore to meet that person, because I have done that in the past. I sat there all Saturday morning for 4 hours, talked to them, and then they walked out the door, and I never heard back from them because they went to a different realtor, and that realtor steered them to go to a different lender.
to their lender. Yeah.
So I'm not wasting my time or the money from the credit report, because those are really expensive now too. I just don't have the time for it, because there are times there's stuff that I want to do on my own,
Yep.
and then it's not that I'm selfish or anything. It's just I have to set my priorities.
Yeah. Well, and that's just like with coaching. When people say, "I can't believe how much these people are charging for coaching. It's ridiculous." Well, our coaching is one-on-one. Number one, you're getting my experience, my time, my knowledge, my network. And nobody said this about me. I'm just saying I see this often on Facebook. I can't believe how much these coaches are charging for coaching. And people are like, "Oh, you can learn everything that you need to learn on YouTube for free." Yes, you can. But is that the way you want to do it? Like I can learn how to be a doctor and perform brain surgery by going and watching things on YouTube. Am I going to be successful? Is my patient going to live? Like, it's not as easy as that. I mean, it's easy, but what is it? What's Dennis is saying? It's simple, but it's not easy. Okay, so it is a very easy concept, but if you don't do it in the right order, then what are you going to do? That's like getting a property under contract and being like, "Yes, I got a property under contract," putting it on your website and not sending anybody to your website. How's anybody supposed to know? If you have a property for sale in a certain area and you want to list that property for sale, it needs to be listed in the local area's MLS.
It needs to be in the local one, but it needs to be covered by a larger one.
Yeah. So in East Texas, each little area has their own. So if you have a realtor, you need to ask them. You need to.
No, you do not have to ask them. They have to
tell you. They should tell you. But it seems like a stupid question, but hey, which MLS are you going to be listing this in? Evidently,
no, that's what they have to disclose to you up front, because it's an ethical question.
It's an ethical question, but now we know that. I'm going to have to ask that from now on, because I know now that it's not.
I mean, the thing is, I'm not a realtor. Okay.
Neither am I.
The thing is, I was doing a loan in Louisiana. I'm not licensed in Louisiana for my mortgage business. But my client, he begged me to please do the loan, because I have done with him one here in Wichita Falls, and he really wanted to use me. So what I had to do is I had to go and use somebody else's license, work under that license. But then I had to do a lot of research about Louisiana, because he really wanted to do it. Wanted me to do it. But you know what? I have to say it was really difficult to make that happen.
Yeah.
With the investor side, it's not so difficult. But if you're doing home ownership where you move in yourself, it's really difficult. And I had to disclose it to everybody. The same thing is, Tim made a really great example yesterday. He said, if I would sell a property in Houston, could I list it? Could I do it? No, I can't, because first of all, I don't have the MLS. Could he do it in Dallas, in a neighborhood that he's not familiar with? Yes, he could, but he would ethically, he would not really do a good job for the client because he's not familiar with the neighborhood.
And he's not on that board.
Yes,
He
he
can't
is.
list
He's
in
on the
that
board.
area.
He's on the board. He's
Houston?
on the board. Not in Houston, but in the Dallas area. He's on the board.
Right.
But I mean, even he said, I would not know the neighborhood.
He
I
wouldn't
would
be doing them any justice.
no, and he would not do him, and it would hurt everybody. And as I was, that was a really interesting point that he mentioned that, and I think as in our profession, we have to say the same thing. Like I got a call, well, can you coach us in Kansas? Nope, I can't because I'm not familiar with Kansas.
Right.
I can send you to our website. There's a lot of free stuff that you can learn, but it may not apply to you because this is more Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We
It's
specialize
we're
in,
all in Texas. I can only teach you what I know. I don't know what the laws are in like is it Chicago
oh yeah,
that they're coming down so hard on wholesalers and the wholesalers have to have a license or so. I don't know because I'm not from there, but I know that there are some issues with wholesaling up there.
mhm.
So learn your local laws and what is and isn't available. Because if I teach you how to wholesale and you don't have a wholesale license, then your knowledge is going to be like going to school and not dropping out in the 12th grade before you get your diploma. You
Well,
can't
the
use
same
that.
thing with door knocking. People go door knocking,
Yeah.
to ask for business. Well, some areas you need to have soliciting firm. Some don't.
Oh,
If you
that's
don't,
yeah.
it is important that you know by law. I mean, only because you hear it from the company that you should be doing that does not mean that you don't have to do your own homework on, oh, I have to get a soliciting firm because I am going to be door knocking. I'm going to ask for business.
That's the same as with putting out signs. I buy houses or whatever.
Yes,
Some municipalities allow it, some don't. Some
right.
are very strict, some aren't. Some say don't do it, but they don't care if you do, as long as you pick them up. Um, I remember we put some out one night in Denison, Texas, and we were leaving the town. So we just finished and we were getting on the highway and we were crossing the road to get onto the highway. And the police department called and said, you cannot do this. We do not allow that. What they did allow was one sign 4 feet from the street per property. So we made sure that every property that we had that was a rental or we had under contract or we
Hmm.
were selling or it didn't matter. If it was our house and we had something to do with it, a sign was going in that yard.
Right.
And it's funny, our tenants never had a problem with it. And we said, hey, by the way, we're going to put the sign in your yard. If you can please, put it back after you mow. And if you ever need another one, let us know. This is how we get more properties just like yours. And they're like, yeah, I'd love to have, my mom would like to live in this neighborhood close to us. I would like for you to have another property here. So of course we'll put the sign out in your yard. Did it last the whole 12 months they were there? No. Were we consistent with that? No. It could have easily just went on our checklist, their move-in checklist. By the way, this sign that says for rent is now going to say Johnny buys houses. Simple. Could have done that super easy, but we didn't.
Yeah, it's that persistency that we need to follow through and really keep doing. I mean,
I need to add that. I need to let Dennis know that needs to go on our marketing, like our policies and procedures during the move-in walkthrough with the tenant. Whenever we're doing their training, their new tenant training, take the lockbox off the house, make sure they have their key, make sure that they know all about the utilities. And by the way, this sign is going to be switched out. Now it's going to say this. And you have any questions? And one of my best tips on my tenants, as I tell them, I give it to them in a folder. And I tell them, okay, this is your copy of the lease. And what I like to do, since I know it's something that you're never going to need again, but on the in the instance that you need to refer back to it, let's put it right up here in this cabinet that's never used, that one above the stove or the one above the refrigerator.
mhm.
Or I'll say, or stick it up like this in the end of the cabinet with your spices or your, whatever. You know that cabinet I'm talking about where the important stuff goes. And it was really funny when I moved out of my last house in East Texas. I opened when I was moving, I found the lease right where I said, right up in the top of the cabinet. So if I ever needed it, like they need to refer back to know. I also put my welcome letter that had the phone number to call for maintenance. Hey, here's the number to call for the gas company. Here's the number to call for an electric company that will find you the best deal. Our electric broker. Do you have to use them? No, but it's a helpful tip. And then here's the information for the water company. You have 48 hours to get the utilities into your house.
There would be basically, if you have those clear folders, put that one and tape it to the inside where the water heater is.
Oh yeah, great idea.
Because you don't have to go in there, but it's going to stay there.
Yep.
And in case of an emergency, they can go there and get it.
Yep.
And so it's not being, I think that might be a really good idea just to keep a practice.
Yep.
Keeping in the water heater area, just.
That's a great idea because every house has a water heater closet, unless like my house is in the garage. There's no.
Yeah, but you can stick it on the wall.
Stick it on the wall by the hot water heater. Yep.
And I think it's not a bad idea to keep it there and say, okay, this is your lease. This is what the procedure is. And you can even put in the report, the copy. Yeah, the copy of the how the house was. You can add all those things in there, or just create a folder and put it in there. But I think it's a good idea to keep something like that handy, and say I have the same copy in my office, and you just have copies here. It's not the original. Original stays with you.
Absolutely.
And then, when the move out is happening, and if something happens, you can refer and see, was the one thing busted or not? And you can go back and you say, okay, it was not busted. And then you know exactly that you're going to have to pay for it to be, there's no question asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can go back. So, yes.
Okay, Miss Gabby, it is almost 1:00. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. I always enjoy our talks.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yes,
so
I do.
I guess I need to put the link.
Today?
Say again?
Did we have any guests today? Anybody listening to us?
I don't see anyone, or I didn't see anybody. Somebody may have come in here and there. I wasn't paying attention that much. I got engrossed in what we had going on. Let me get the link to sign up for the April 22nd meeting, and I don't know if I can do a screen share. Let's see, events. So if they want to sign up, it is Plano. It's Finding, Analyzing, and Funding Deals Workshop. It's going to be basically a little over a half day. Backflip is going to be providing burgers for lunch that day, or something for lunch that day. Okay. And then OT Investment Group is going to be providing their breakfast stuff that day. Okay. So we're going to have a great time. I'm really excited about getting to go and go step by step with everybody for that. So if they want to sign up, they can go here. You can go to Meetup, and it is on Impact Plano TX Real Estate Investor Group, and it's Plano Finding, Analyzing, and Funding Deals Workshop. And it's $49, and it's going to be great fun. We're looking forward to it. And then I'm also going to be planning my first in-home training. I'm going to invite, I don't know, maybe I'm going to have to limit it because, obviously I want it to be comfortable. I can't have a group of 10 people trying to be up in my living room learning something. So I want it to be, maybe 5 or 6 people. And, we're just going to do some deep dives into whatever topic, and might just start at the beginning and work to the end and do it over like 12 months. So we'll see. Super excited.
I think it's going to be really good if you do something like that. I think this will be great.
Yeah. I mean, I've got several people that have already asked that live close to me. So, even though my group is in Plano and we meet in Addison and I live in Princeton, it's all in this area. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
gonna
dear.
have our meeting on the 15th in Wichita Falls. So if you want to come to Wichita Falls, and if you
Not
want
this weekend, but next weekend, right?
yes,
Because it's Easter, and y'all
yes,
usually do the second. Yours is usually the second. I think I just saw a bunny rabbit. I keep seeing something white out of my window, and I'm
yeah.
like, "What was that?"
And we're gonna
So,
have
so
breakfast.
Saturday the 15th,
Mm-hmm.
breakfast.
We're gonna have breakfast with Tim and Gabby at 8. It's gonna
Okay.
cost you $15.
Okay.
You cover the food. Basically, you just pay your own food,
Uh-huh.
and you can have breakfast with us. But you have to let us know that you're coming.
That's going to be at the Wichita Falls Country Club, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you want more information on that, let me put the banner up.
And then we meet on the 17th. Actually, on the 17th, we're gonna be in Denton.
And who's your guest in Denton? Or who's your guest on the 15th? What is your topic?
Yeah, asking the wrong person right now. I don't know. I mean,
Let me
I
go look.
something coming through, but
I'll go look real quick. I'll go look it up for you. Do you know who your speaker is in Denton?
It might be Tim and me speaking.
Okay, Wichita Falls on events. How to complete the Trek contract. Oh, y'all are doing a property tour, Gabi.
Yes, we're gonna do a property tour too. Yes.
How to complete how to fill out the Texas. What does Trek stand for? Texas Real Estate Commission contract, the official Texas real estate contract. How to fill it out. Yes. And then you are going on a property tour.
Yes, you do. And
it's normally on the second Saturday, but because of the Easter weekend, it's going to be on the third Saturday, which is going to be April 15th.
And that's on the 17th. Tim and I are going to talk about how to fund the deal.
How to get your deal funded with your lender, with different, it's so funny how people don't understand what all they need to present. I mean, it seems obvious to me, but I guess it's just second nature by now. But I still learn things just by talking to you that I don't think it's relevant. But you're like, oh yeah, that's
you should important. Be the pro now by now.
I know, right? But I am definitely going to start my spreadsheet. You should be the pro. Yeah, I'm going to start my spreadsheet since I had a closing yesterday. It hasn't funded yet. It's supposed to be funding today, so.
I'm still waiting for my answers back.
Y'all's talk on Monday the 17th. That's going to be at 6:00 at the Spring Hill Inn and Suites in Denton. And it starts at 6:00. The topic is, will bank failure contagion affect real estate investing?
Oh, so he changed it. Okay.
And let's see who's going to be talking that night.
There might be Tim talking about it.
Oh, you're still talking about loans though.
I am. Okay.
Will it affect the mortgage rates? Will it affect if you're self-employed? Can I still get 100% financing? And you are the speaker. You and Tim. So, all right. Well, great. I will definitely be there. I need to come up and spend the night in Wichita Falls whenever my kids are their grandmas or something. So,
sure, we have a room for you.
Okay. All right, dear. Well, I will see you. Have a great Easter weekend. We will not have a call on Sunday night, and I don't think I've even been on the Sunday call this month. But we'll see you back here next Wednesday at noon for pie. Plano Idea Exchange.
Don't forget Randy Hughes on May 20th.
Oh yes, we have Randy Hughes is going to be here the whole first week in May. I don't even want to try to attempt. I need to write it down and post it on my wall. All the different locations he's going to be at.
May 1st, he's going to be in Denton.
May 2nd, he's in Arlington.
The 2nd
May
and the 3rd,
he's in May 3rd, he's on Wednesday.
I think so, yes.
May 3rd, he's in Wichita Falls. May 4th, he's going to be in Hurst. No, is it? They meet in Bedford or Hurst?
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
I think they meet at. I think it's Bedford. Then on May 5th, we're going to have a VIP dinner with Randy Hughes. And then on May 6th, he's going to be in Plano at the Addison, Real Impact Plano at the Addison location at the Quest building at 9:30 a.m. Then in the afternoon, he's going to drive over to Longview and meet with the Tyler Lindale Longview groups at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. So, and then an all day training on May 20th on, so the first meetings are why and when you need to use a land trust to protect your assets. And then on the 20th, he's going to teach us how, step by step, how to create a land trust to protect your assets.
And the next time we're going to tell you why you need to come to all those meetings, because you could win a free trip to Cancun.
Oh, yes. Hopefully we'll have all that lined out tomorrow. We're going back to Cancun in September of 2023, and we've got exciting announcements. We're actually going to be giving away a VIP trip valued at $10,000. And every time you attend a meeting and scan the QR code to enter, you're going to get an entry to win. Go you!
Exactly. So that's why I said go to all the meetings as much as you can. I mean,
Yep.
You don't have to drive around to go to all the meetings. That defeats kind of the purpose. But go to the meetings, join up, and just be present and just have fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Miss Gabi, thank you for joining us. We'll see y'all next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday. Bye.